Hey, well, how are you? I have an interesting story for you today. About 8 years ago, I was doing like a fundraiser for cancer. I was gonna go up a mountain and just skip on top of it, right? So I did this like training thing and did a few local hills in Australia, and then decided to go to Bulgaria, Mount Musala, I think it's called. Yeah, that's right. Well, it didn't all turn out quite as planned. So let's get back to the studio and let me tell you an interesting story. Okay, hey, so where were we? Climbing a mountain. The story behind this amazing photo, which I'll show you right at the end. Or you can skip to it if you want. Well, it was 2017, and I had just gone through a whirlwind of a relationship, and it had fallen apart, and I had kind of no responsibility and no real plan of what to do next. And so it was, I was really free. It was like a really liberating feeling. And one of the things I thought of doing was climbing a mountain. I'd never done that before. And I'd really enjoyed running up mountains, like hills in Australia. It's like one of my favorite things, just running up steps. There's this hill in Melbourne, Victoria, called the Thousand Steps. Another story. And so one of the things that I came up with was this idea to go up this 3,000-meter mountain. I thought, what's a reasonable mountain I can climb with not too much experience, that's not very risky and not very dangerous? And it's Mount Musala in Bulgaria. And I'd always wanted to go to Europe and explore the mountains there. It was one of the bigger ones in the Caucasus. It's not as big as like Erebus or all these other ones, but it was reasonable for my experience level to go up, and you don't need special hiking equipment. So I thought, well, I'll do this for charity. I'll do it as a promotion, also kind of like a marketing exercise, because I had set up a health business at the time. So Health It was called. And so basically, I booked my ticket, and I'd also had a conference that I was talking at related to video games that are in London. So the trip was go to London, spend a few days there, and then go to Bulgaria. And I had a week there to do everything that I needed to do. And I thought, okay, great, it'll be a good experience. So I traveled to London. I got there, did the talk, and then got into Bulgaria, into Sofia. Amazing, amazing city. It was like this backdrop of like old European architecture, beautiful churches and some castles against this like really, really tall mountains. So it's something I'd never seen in my life, and I was just astounded. I really soaked up the atmosphere. I went taking photos of cats, of streets, of the places around there. Um, I tore in London. I tore my hand muscle here. So the fun started like when I booked the car and I was heading over to this stay where I was going to be staying for the next 3 4 days to climb up the mountain. And while I was in London, I was carrying my backpack, and the backpack fell on my thumb, and I tore or broke something here or dislocated. It was really painful, and so I wasn't sure what was wrong, and so I went to a hospital in Sofia in my car, and I stayed there for like I think 3 hours trying to just get like a visitation to get an X-ray, and I got the X-ray done. That was really quick. It was amazing how quick they all did it, and it was free. I was like, what? It was all free for someone visiting on a tourist visa. And the hospital was like, it felt like it was like a medieval castle, but still they did everything that you had to get done, right? It was all right. But I got back to my car, and the car had been bolted, because you're only meant to be in this car park where I parked for half an hour. I'm like, it's a hospital. How are you meant to park for half an hour? I didn't see any signs, but I walked like maybe 50 meters, and I saw a sign saying only, half an hour. And they left them like it was like a handwritten note, and you had to like give them some cash, and then they came in and basically, gave you your car back. And so, at least my hand was okay. I can't believe got in the car, got everything, and headed through to this mountain range. I got to where I was staying, and it was like a Estrovets. It was like a spa relaxation center, and that's probably where you stay when it's snow season. You go skiing. It was autumn, right? So it was October, and there was barely any snow where I was. Like there was no snow. There was on the top of the mountain, but not where I was. So it was good. Really great weather. Really sunny. There wasn't anything. It was. There wasn't any problems getting there, setting up. It was beautiful. Had this whole cottage to myself. The whole place, the whole spa center, was pretty empty. There was, I think, maybe 10 people out of 100. So it was off season. And I was just like, wow, I've got this whole place to myself. I went swimming in their swimming pool. They had all these saunas and spas, and I sat in there like for half the day on the weekend. And then, during the week, I was also working, so I kind of did half days coding. And so when it came time to climb the mountain, I got up really early, and I expected it to be about an 8-hour climb, which is okay from where I was. It was 8 hours straight up, and then I think no, it was 6 hours up and 6 hours down, so 12 hours. And I thought, I should be able to do that all in one go. 12 hours. I kind of trained really well for it. Everything was going perfect. Everything was like, it was a little stressful when I got kind of at the I think the 3/4 of the way mark. But I was like, everything was going well. And if I'd gotten to the top before sunset, everything would have been fine. I would have gotten, everything would have been all great. Now, according to Gaia Maps, there was a trail. So I used this app, Gaia Maps, to plan my trail. And when I followed the trail, I didn't follow, I saw like a sign saying, go this way and go this way. There's two ways. It was off season, right? So like there'd already been some snow, a lot of snow that had fallen, but I could see there was maybe one or two people that I passed on the way that were going on the way down. Now, there was another resort at the base of the mountain where you could stay, and there was like this huge motel place where you could just sleep. There's lots of people just sleeping in this kind of shared all of it was pretty much empty because it was off season. And so I followed what the Gaia Maps app trail showed me, and I think that that's a winter trail. That's probably where I went wrong. And I didn't really look to see where the right trail was. So I just kept going and kept going and kept going. And the trail actually started to get into full length, knee high snow. And I was slogging it. And there was, instead of like the steps where there used to be steps, it was just like packed snow. And the trail there was no longer a trail to follow. And so basically I got to this point where I look down, look like over where I am. The sun's setting, and I got to stop. Like I was so exhausted with all the snow, all wet, freezing in my legs. And it said that I still had maybe 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers up, but I had no idea which way to go. It was like really super steep, super like snowy, and really. And a few times I actually stepped so deep that I was like up to here in the snow, and like Jesus Christ, like this is out of control. I got to this other stop, and I stopped for a bit, and I thought maybe I'll set up camp before going up further, because it was really like just pretty much straight up like this. You had to rope climb up the top for the next, I think, 500 meters. I opened up my bag and I tried to start a fire. Like nothing worked. I couldn't start a fire. It was too cold. It was too wet. Everything was wet because I'd fallen into the snow so deep, and there was no one around. And going back, I had no idea, right? I had no idea that I was actually on the wrong trail. And going back the way that I came would have been a disaster, because I would have just gone through all the snow and I would have had to start again. So I thought, 500 meters, right? I can do this. And I'm really weak by now. It was like 8 hours of just walking straight up. And it was meant to be like 6 hours. I was meant to be at the top. And I think I spent the next 30 minutes kind of collecting my strength and slowly getting everything together after an 8-hour nonstop like climb. My legs were starting to cramp. The last 500 meters is a rope climb, so you kind of have to hold onto a rope and climb up. There's nothing to hold on down the bottom, right? And it's all like a sheer drop like this. So you basically have on each side you have a sheer drop. But I'd found a path, so the path was there now. So this was a walkable track. So from where I went, I got onto this walkable track where people had been going. But the absolute exhaustion that I was in, it took me, I think, about another hour, and I still wasn't there. I was still just little by little. And what happened at this point is like I had my walking sticks on my backpack sticking out, and they caught on the top of the rope that you hold. And I tried to move forward, but I couldn't, and I slipped. And and tried to pull back. I don't know exactly how. Try to pull back on this to try and remove the stick, the walking stick from the rope, so I could just move. And my other hand slipped, and I fell back, down. and I was able to catch on with the walking track with one of my hands as I was sliding down, and I kind of like hang on there. I was like in tears, like absolutely dead tired, holding on, and I was like, if I don't hold on, that's it. I'm just gonna slide down this sheer drop, and who knows what the hell's gonna happen? You know, I could be dead. I could be, I could get frostbite. You know, so with whatever strength that I had, I pulled up with my other hand, pulled up, and let the backpack kind of drop. And because the backpack didn't drop too far, I picked it back up. I pulled the sticks out, and I put them like around here so that they didn't catch on the rope again. I finally got to the top, but before I did, and this is, I think, kind of captures the moment, there was an absolutely, like, a blood red moon just coming over the horizon, like a full blood red moon. And like, I'd never seen a red moon like that red before. Uh, and it was absolutely like a scene from Dracula, you know, where I was kind of at the top. I got to the top. I was in like in a panic. The guy that was like, there was someone there at the base, at the top base, at the top of the mountain, and they were like, they couldn't speak English. And I just basically got everything off. I had some change of socks, thank God. So I put them on. I got heated up. I was like cramping, couldn't breathe. Had a headache because I'd been up above I think 2,500 meters. So I hadn't acclimatized to 3,000 meters yet. So I started to get a headache. And you know, at the end of it, when the sun was coming up, I didn't get any sleep, or maybe about an hour, because I was just stressed, extremely stressed. But I went out, I took my little camera, Nikon D850, not D850, sorry, Nikon D3400, and and I took it. I had no idea what I was doing because I'd only just been practicing photography. I had already taken a few photos, but this photo of the sun as it was coming up was just absolutely stunning. It was just a coincidence. I had it on auto. I took the photo. It was still dark, and I'm so glad that the photos that you're about to see worked out, because they really, like, after such a hell of an experience, to see something like this and to just soak it up and just to have survived that, the closest moment, I think, probably one of the closest moments I've been to death, right? Whatever you call it. And then doing the skip, I got that out of the way, and then climbing down was so easy. It was so easy once I found the right path. So just going, like, having used this Gaia Maps trail that was like closed and snowed over could have cost like me my life, right? So I got back down, right back down to the bottom, and it only, I think, took me 4.5 hours to get back, and I kind of ran a little bit down. It's a lot easier going down than up, right? So I got down to the bottom, and I had this absolutely, full, complete meal, like, everything that I could order off the menu, and, cognac to wrap it up. And so I think, what can you say? Like, these photos really mean a lot to me. I hope you appreciate them, and I hope you enjoyed this story. I'll see you in 2 weeks for another story. Gotcha. Bye.